The village chief asked me to stop by his house before I left. I suppose I better tell him bye. You usually receive some parting gifts for your adventure in situations like these. Let's go. I'm looking forward to seeing what we get. Alright. And this starts the Ilias route. Alright. Well, with Ilias around, we'll start by... Actually, before we get... Well, hold on, does anyone have anything to say without Sonia? I think people say different stuff if you talk without Sonia first, so... Welcome to Iliasville. Oh, if it isn't Luca. Glad to see you in good health. I'm sure you don't need a guide, but is there anywhere you want to go? Nah. Maybe I shouldn't tell you this. I've heard lots of nasty rumors about Lazarus. He's in some kind of shady organization, and he was involved in an assassination attempt on the Pope, too. He still disappears off to who knows where now and again, doesn't he? Just where is he going and why? Well, he does think the world of you and Sonia. On that point, at least, I have no doubt. See, I think most people continue commenting the same. I think there's only a few that make different comments. One being this girl over here. Oh, you don't say anything yet? Huh. Oh, whatever. We'll go ahead and get Sonia. Might as well. Save us some time. Alright, first things first. To the roof! There be stuff up here. Alright, old man, let's start with you. Thanks for coming along, Luca. I heard everything from the head priest. It seems you got a lot on your shoulders. It's your destiny to be the last hope for this world. I agree that we need to keep this under wraps, though. If it spreads, you'll find it hard to return to the village if you ran into trouble on your adventure, wouldn't you? By the way, who's the young lady behind you? I am the goddess of creation, Ilias. Show me the respect I am due. How wonderful to have you here. I am the monster lord, Alphys the 16th. How frightening! That's very kind of you to help a lost girl find her way home before you leave, Luca. Anyway, let me give you this. Zorowski, another thing in the Sonia thread. You don't get this key, so you don't get the goodies in the basement. There may be some kind of things to use in the village storehouse. Please take anything you need. If you got where the storehouse is, it's down the staircase north of the blacksmith. I remember. Thank you so much. Now, before you go, is there anything you want to ask me about? I've learned a lot in my 50 years as chief. About my father. Your father, Marcellus, was a fine man. He gathered a party and traveled the world helping those in need. Back then, the scars of the great disaster still ran deep, and Marcellus did a lot to help people recover from it. Afterward, he and his companions returned to the village. The strain of all their fierce battles had finally taken their toll. Once home, Marcellus settled down. He took a wife. I never heard how they met, but she was a mysterious woman. My mother. You were born shortly thereafter, at which point Marcellus left on another journey by himself. He said he had to defend the world for the people he loved most dearly, as well as pick up some milk and cigarettes.
Of course he was referring to you and Lucifina. For the sake of his family, he once again left the village. Marcellus knew something back then that we didn't. Something about this darkness covering the world. Your mother knew something too, I'd bet. She kept it to herself and took the secret to her grave.
Yeah, just like she took a secret to her grave in the previous one.
Your parents never told you about what they knew. Now that you're an adult, do you understand why?
So I wouldn't get involved in something dangerous?
Exactly. Your mother and father wanted you to live a peaceful life. However, now you're leaving on your own adventure. I can't stop you, though. You're Marcellus' son, through and through. Please find your father and bring him back to the village safely, Luca.
Yes, sir.
Now, was there anything else you wanted to ask?
About Lazarus.
You want to ask about him again? After all this time? You see him every day. The warrior Lazarus was one of your father's traveling companions. They were both born in this village and were childhood friends. He may have a foul mouth, but at heart he's a good person. He also became a top-notch swordsman, polishing his skills in order to compete with Marcellus. On their journey, Marcellus was a great help to your father, but he pushed himself too hard and wore out his sword arm.
He had such a reckless way of fighting. Even I'm not that crazy.
By the time he made it home, Lazarus' right arm was nearly useless. He laughed about it, though, happy just to be alive. Although once Marcellus left the village by himself, Lazarus fell to pieces at having been left behind. It was a terrible sight. Nevertheless, he looked after you well, especially after the death of your mother. I owe him a lot for that. Sonia does too, for that matter. He did an excellent job caring for her after Karen passed. She takes care of him more than the other way around these days, but whatever. He can be verbally abusive at times, but he's a reliable man. I know there are many nasty rumors about him, but Lazarus has a pure soul at heart. I guess you know that better than anyone.
Yeah. He's really peevish, though.
Well, it's hard to blame him. Who wouldn't sulk around if his best friend left him behind? The sooner you can bring Marcellus home, the better.
Yes, sir. I will.
Now, was there anything else you want to ask about?
About Sonia.
As you know, your father traveled with a party of 4. Besides Marcellus, there was Lazarus, along with a priest and an old magic user.
Priest Karen and the magic user Merlin.
Priest was still very young at the time, a girl named Karen. She wasn't from this village, but she lived here on account of her parents. After she got back, she returned to her hometown and married. Then she gave birth to Sonia. Sadly, Karen and her husband perished in an accident. A landslide occurred in a neighboring village, and the two of them went to help. They managed to save over a dozen people, but lost their own lives in exchange. Karen's former party member Lazarus took their daughter Sonia and raised her in this village. She grew up quickly, as you're well aware.
Yeah, she grew up a little too quickly for me. Yeah, given the significant size difference between Sonia and Luca. I know girls hit puberty earlier than boys, but god damn. Puberty hit that girl like a truck.
These days, Sonia is the one looking after Lazarus. But oh well, she grew up to be a fine young lady anyways.
Emphasis on the fine there.
She inherited her mother's innate talent as a priest. Now as a member of the temple, she heals soldiers who get injured. She's quite popular.
But why did she become a temple priestess in the first place?
You should ask her that yourself. You dense little boy. If I was in your shoes, I'd be all up in that, girl.
Yeah?
Anyway, please get along with Sonia.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
The Great Disaster 30 years ago.
The Great Disaster? It's been 30 years. I still remember it like it was yesterday. The day began with dark clouds blanketing the sky. Earthquakes shook the land with hardly a pause, and the constant thunder was deafening. Powerless before nature, we could do nothing but pray to Ilias to save us. I shut myself up in my house and waited for the disaster to pass. By late afternoon, the cataclysm had ended, however not without dealing terrible damage to the world. The Centaur continent was rent asunder and split up, and a snow-covered continent rose to the northwest. It didn't rise, it fell. And one day, the map of the world had been redrawn. Most mysterious of all, giant holes appeared all over the world. 7 of these holes to the so-called Tartarus have been discovered so far. Down each of the holes is a massive dungeon. Highly advanced technology and artifacts have been found in there, but we still have no explanation for any of it.
It's all based on where they came from. Remina.
I don't know the details, but I've heard exploration has all but stopped due to strange and never-before-seen monsters inhabiting the place.
If I remember right, there are 2 entrances to Tartarus on this continent alone.
The eastern Tartarus is cut off by a mountain range, but the southern one isn't far from here at all. Scary to think it's so close. You better not wander there unprepared either. At least outfit yourself in Iliasburg first.
Yes, sir.
The appearance of Tartarus wasn't the only effect in the Great Disaster. In addition, the concentration of mana in the air greatly increased. That in itself wasn't so bad though. Thanks to the new abundance of mana, it has become much easier to use magic.
Before the Great Disaster, it was really hard to use, wasn't it? There people used to have to train for decades to be magic users.
That's right. It was very difficult back then. These days, any child can cast simple spells. It's been called the Magical Renaissance. The increase in mana from the Great Disaster has made magic part of daily life. As a result, people have begun to study magic seriously, and have even formed schools for it. The increase in mana isn't the only reason for magical research, though. Another magical change accompanied the Great Disaster. Our goddess Ilias, once ever present, hasn't been seen since.
Yeah. You know that it happened before I was born. I still feel a sense of loss.
Well, yeah, your Graham is gone!
Supposedly, before the Great Disaster, Ilias used to communicate with us regularly. She'd also baptize heroes, infusing them with some of her holy energy, and making their stuff taste terrible.
Ever since she disappeared, faith in her has steadily declined. Her teachings are also seen as old-fashioned and obsolete as well these days. Well, yeah, if her teachings call for the extermination of monsters, ones that you are currently living peacefully with, then yeah, they're kind of going to be seen as old-fashioned, to put it lightly. Bigoted is the more appropriate term for it.
Her teachings, such as prohibitions on magical research and interacting with monsters, have been increasingly ignored since the Great Disaster. The world has changed a lot in the last 30 years, which is why people started calling it a Renaissance. It doesn't feel like much of one to me, though, considering that I was born after the Great Disaster happened.
The actual cause of the disaster still remains steeped in mystery. At first, people thought it was the work of the Monster Lord.
Nope, that's propaganda. Now, the Great Disaster was caused by a time paradox. As people began interacting more with the monsters, it became clear that nothing more than a rumor. That was nothing more than a rumor. The monsters suffered just as much in the disaster as humanity. After that, humans and monsters both made great strides towards coexistence. It hasn't gone entirely smooth everywhere, though.
And that's about all there is to say. Lately, the number of strange events is on the rise, however. There are rumors of entire village populations disappearing overnight, and the number of monster attacks on humans is on the rise as well. It's not just the monsters either. The actions of the four major countries have been extremely fishy too. Perhaps the adventurers dropping by the Ilias Temple can provide you with more details on what's happening.
The reason why my father left on another adventure.
I dare say there's a connection there somewhere. I know you're falling into the same mess. Well, I talk like I know it all, but I really don't. Damn you, Marcellus, you didn't tell us anything. Luca, please take care of yourself. The world is a dangerous place these days.
Yes, sir, I will. The surrounding area.
If you follow the road out of the village north, you'll reach Iliasburg. Which you know is the largest town in the Ilias continent. Buying new equipment there is the start of many adventure. The monsters around there aren't much stronger than the ones here either. Don't be in a hurry and rush off to Iliasburg, though. I recommend visiting the Cave of Trials first. You'll find it easy if you follow the road southeast from here. The Cave of Trials is probably the best place for a new adventurer to learn the ropes. Next, if you cross the bridge to the east and keep going, you'll see Talus Hill a little bit to the south. Many choose to trade there before heading to Iliasburg. If you're interested, go there and have a look around. To the west, an enormous forest known as the Lost Woods await. Entering the forest unprepared is very dangerous. Ever since you were a child, you've been told not to go near it, and it hasn't changed even as a hero. Unless you have no other choice, steer clear. Similarly, avoid the entrance to Tartarus to the south. Many strong, unfamiliar monsters lurk there. There's also a small town named Pornov to the east, but the monsters there are stronger than the ones around here. If you want to go there, equip yourself at Iliasburg first. Don't run off to the east without being prepared. That's about all there is to tell you. Once you go to Iliasburg, ask around and learn more.
And that's it from you.
Alright then, go Luca, and good luck. I won't tell you to save the world. Simply coming back home safely will be plenty enough for me.
Yes, sir. I'll do my best.
Oh, have you seen Sonia?
Not since my baptism ceremony, no.
Something suspicious is definitely going on. I've got a bad feeling about this. Be careful.
Now for your wife. I can tell you about all ancient legends and histories. If you'd like to learn more, just ask.
Yep, only two, about the Great Monster War.
The Great Monster War was a legendary struggle between our goddess and the Dark One that happened 1,000 years ago. In order to protect humanity, Ilias marshaled the forces of heaven itself to fight the Dark One. After many long battles, Ilias prevailed and destroyed the Dark One forever. False propaganda! Ever since then, Ilias has continued to look after us. Thus, we must never forget her benevolence. Is there anything else you'd like to hear about?
The great hero Heinrich.
The legendary hero Heinrich. You do love this story, don't you, Luca? Our tale begins 500 years ago, when the Monster Lord hatched a plot to take over the world and enslave humanity.
That part is at least true.
It may have succeeded, but for one man who stood up to her, Heinrich. After a long and treacherous journey, our hero reached Hogondo and bravely challenged the Monster Lord. He defeated her, of course, and brought peace back to the world. Thanks to his valiant efforts, no Monster Lord since has tried anything so wicked. For his reward, the goddess summoned Heinrich to heaven, where he lives in an eternal paradise even to this day.
False. Heinrich's soul should currently be imprisoned, if that part's still the same. We haven't found that out yet.
Your own father, Marcellus, was hailed as the second coming of Heinrich, as you know,
in more ways than you might expect. So's Luca, for that matter.
He helped many people all over the world in the wake of the great disaster. Luca, as the son of Marcellus, everyone here in the village has great faith in you.
Anything else? Nope, I've heard enough.
Okay then, please take care on your travels, Luca.
Alright, and coming outside, we meet Sonia.
Done talking with the chief, Luca? If that's the case, let's go! Well, Sonia, go where? On your adventure, silly! Were you planning on leaving me behind or something?
Well, there is the Sonia-less run, which, yeah, you can. You can completely ditch her. As long as you don't enter the village chief's house, you can completely ditch her.
It's gonna be dangerous, though. This isn't a pleasure trip. Which is why I dedicated myself to priestly training and learning how to fight from Uncle Lazarus. Anyway, I'm coming with you whether you like it or not. It's ridiculous for you to go off alone.
Sonia forced her way into the party. Childhood tag-along.
Who's the kid, by the way? I am the goddess Ilias. I used to be taller. Well, it's hard to explain, but Ilias will be traveling with us. Wait, it's really Ilias? This girl does kind of look similar to the Ilias we saw in the temple. This girl? How about her holiness? Kids these days aren't taught properly respect, I swear. Sorry. I'm the Monster Lord Alphys the 16th. Are you going to be in Nero my attendance? Well, it's hard to explain, but the Monster Lord will be traveling with us. The Monster Lord? Really? That's kind of hard to believe. Just you wait, little girl. I'll make you regret ever doubting my majesty. I thought it was just going to be the two of us. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I still have a job to attend to. Someone heard a song crying at the eastern edge of the village. Can we go check that out before we leave? You love solving people's problems, right? Sounds like you're getting me to do your work for you. I don't mind helping the slime out, though. Alright, let's roll!
Oh, yep. Hi, Nero. Mysterious youth. Hello. You must be Luca. You must not have inherited the Shota gene that is very prevalent in Heinrich's genealogy.
I am, but who are you?
I'm no one special. My name is Nero, though. I'm simply an ordinary traveler passing through.
Reveal who you really are, weirdo. A story like that can't fool a goddess. If you consider that ordinary, I'm scared to see what passes for unusual. Sorry. I thought this outfit was so cool. I made it myself. Alright, run! Run! Wait, don't run away, wait! Time stopped. A desperate Nero. Hello, you must be Luca. My name is Nero, a simple traveler passing through. Whoa! Simple traveler passing through wearing that? Sorry. Anyway, what do you want with me? Oh, nothing at all. I just heard you were beginning your journey and figured I'd take a look before you left. This guy is incredibly suspicious. People who call this much attention to themselves are especially unusual around here. You know, I'm really surprised to see how many people in this village can use magic. It's not just here, magic is used routinely all over the world, thanks to all the extra mana in the air after the great disaster. Mana? It's just shorthand for dark and holy energy. Sorry, I'm not a magic scholar or anything. I see. Sorry for the strange question. I could never imagine seeing this much magic being used in my hometown. Places that don't use magic are rare these days. Are people deeply faithful to Ilias where you're from? I guess you could say that. No. Where you're from, they are not faithful to Ilias because Ilias is dead. Ilias is dead there. Is something on my face? If that's where he's looking, you're lucky, Sonia. That outfit attracts all the kinds of wrong attention. I'm sure that the only way that counts as a priest outfit is because all the male priests had a little communion and said, you know, all these priestesses that that are coming to our temple, they're kind of hot, you know. I think the goddess wants them to wear something more revealing. It's an insult to the goddess to hide their bodies, after all. Oh, quite, yes, I concur. Oh, most definitely, yeah. All in favor of having skin-tight outfits? Aye. Hell yeah, let's do it. And thus this outfit was born. No, my apologies. You are... I'm Sonia. I'm Luca's childhood friend. Huh? He doesn't have a childhood friend. Well, I'm standing here in the flesh! Oh. Sorry again. My mistake. And my sincerest apologies for disturbing you. I'm not particularly mad or anything. Goodbye, until we meet again. I'll pray you have safe travels. And there he goes, walking on the roof. What a strange man. He seemed to know more than he was letting on. It's possible he's connected to my current situation somehow. Yeah, he didn't seem like a bad guy though, just unbelievably fishy. What in the world was that guy? What a strange man. Perhaps he's related to that rabbit somehow. Yeah, he didn't seem like a bad guy though, just unbelievably fishy. What in the world was that guy?